We are so here. Ladies and gentlemen, what's goody? It's your boy, so Co. You can also call me OSK. Either is going to convey the same way. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another one. Now, the NBA season just concluded not too long ago. We crowned a new world champion this past week. And so I figured since the season has concluded, it's time that we switch it up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Do a little bit more personal content, I should say. I definitely wanted to do this for a long time, and also wanted to get some thoughts and opinions from you all about this as well, because we always talk about who we think the best players are, all time, making the top 10, top 25 list, whatever it may be. But when was the last time you thought about who your favorite player was, or who are your favorite players of all time? So today I wanted to drop that off. This way you can also get to know me a little bit more as far as the era of basketball I grew up in, and then also kind of what I deem as value. But to the same degree, I'm not pulling any statistics into this at all. I may mention some of the accolades, maybe some small stats, but as far as an overall picture of somebody's play, that's not going to be at play today, because quite frankly, you could be a bum and be one of my top 10 players of all time. I'm just saying. Because basketball, I feel like when it comes to enjoyability, it's all subjective. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to go ahead and give you all that. But before I begin, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave some suggestions down below what you want to see next. And also let me know if any of my players in my top 10 are your favorite top 10s. And if you also have one of the same favorite honorable mentions, which I will get to later in the video, I'll probably drop those off before I reveal who my number one favorite is of all time. But if any of my honorable mentions fall in your top 10 or the same honorable mentions, hey bro, shout out to you, because you got the same taste. That hurt. Without further ado, let's get into it. My number 10 favorite player of all time, and mind you, I just want to put this out there too before I say this person's name. Should have mentioned this a second ago. I only have 3 players on this top 10 list that would have debuted in the 90s, okay? And quick spoiler alert, of those 3, none of them are Michael Jordan. Now you're probably like, bro, what? Why? You know what I'm saying? Well, one, Michael Jordan didn't debut in the 90s, so I mean, that's that. But 2, I definitely wanted to, steer away from that, because his impact and his watchability is there. It is. But at the same degree, you know what I'm saying? He's almost bigger than the game. He is bigger than the game. Which there are a couple players on my list that are like that. But I mean, bro, come on. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? Nonetheless, number 10, Gary Payton. Yep. Gary Payton, bro. So the original Gary Payton, the older one, Gary Payton, the father, I must add. He was one of my first, when I first got into basketball, looking at the history, and a lot of my beginning watching of basketball was 2K. And so seeing Gary Payton and the Shawn Kemp, wow, bro.
What you did today? Whoa.
Gary Payton and the Shawn Kemp Supersonics, it definitely was okay, there's this nice team here. Seeing that they played against MJ in the 90s was cool, but once I learned that Gary Payton was a clamp, and you go back and see some of these stats, he's out here being elected for defensive teams, defensive player of the years. Gary Payton was a dog, and it's crazy because somebody of that size being that impactful on that side of the ball is insane. It's unprecedented even to this day. There are clamps in the NBA at the 1, but Gary Payton, I feel set the standard for that. And one thing about me, I value 2 things more than anything, and one of those 2, in a sense of a player, is defense. Okay, so Gary Payton, one being a guard and having that defensive impact. If I was making an all-time team, I low-key would want him on my team. I'm sorry. Number 9, I have to go with Damian Lillard. Now, Dame, he is, of course, currently playing, so he's a bit different in that sense. But Dame is one of the first players. Well, I can't say one of the first, but he more often than not makes me feel something. What I mean by that is, Dame, I'll never forget the game winner against the Rockets, right? That sent them home. And he's just hyped, bro. Dame was going crazy. In an insane moment, right? Then he also has the game winner against OKC, sending them home. You know the wave. He does his wave like this.
What do you mean by that?
I didn't mean to do that. I was trying to say that he does his wave like this. He didn't do this. He did like this to Paul George. Which that was a bad shot, by the way, apparently. And don't look at my shorts, okay? They don't match with the outfit. It doesn't matter. Okay. Nonetheless, Dame was, and then Bubble MVP Dame. I guess it's worth noting I have a bit of a bias for Dame because you have the Stephen Curry Warriors running the West, which, and again, it's not all Steph's fault because KD did join that team, but I always wanted to see Dame win. Spoiler, if you started watching in 2000 and you going, in order trying to get the lore, he doesn't win. He doesn't beat him. So it was painful in that sense, but at the same time, like, Damian Lillard was always, like, to me, the alternative to Steph, where you had super Steph fans, and then, you had Dame out there on West as well, and you just rooting for him. Because he's also taking these crazy pull-up shots, hitting them. But he just has those moments, bro. So shout out to Damian Lillard. Number 8, another biased pick. I guess they're all biased, but this young man played high school hoops in my hometown. So if you want to do some conductive research and figure out of the 3 high schools he played for where I'm from, sure, whatever, I don't care. Nonetheless, though, number 8 on my list, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Yeah, I said it. Nikhil Alexander Walker's cousin, by the way, if you didn't know that. Shai actually just moved up, okay? I would say he had just cracked my top 10 prior to this video. Then he goes out there and wins a chip. MVP, Finals MVP, championship, all in the same season. He's great on defense, great on mid-range, great getting to the line. We all know that. He's just a really good player. He's on the much better half of one of the most iconic trades of all time, where, the Clippers are just dumping off assets in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to bring in Paul George. How did that work out? Paul George is not even on the Clippers. Okay? I said that to say that Shai has one of the best stories. Bias aside of where he played, being a guy that was essentially a role player with potential in LA, to then go and be the superstar of the OKC Thunder, get a ring, get a Finals MVP and a regular season MVP all in the same points leader. Come on, bro. Shai's a bucket, but not only that, I just love his game. I love the smooth craftiness of him. I think he's calm and collected on the court. I just love seeing him play. All right, this next segment, the next 2 players, we're going to call this the injury bug segment, all right?
I was born with glass bones and paper skin. Every morning I break my legs.
But number 7 on my list, Anthony Davis. Yeah, Anthony Davis, you're getting a shout out. Been a fan of AD ever since the Pelicans, Hornets days, man. Love Anthony Davis's game. He was always, to me, like, I can't say ahead of his time. I'm sure there were other players similar to him at his size, but at the same time, no, right? Like, Anthony Davis set the standard for, like, this very crafty, athletic, but mobile power forward. He is spraying the floor. He's uber athletic, and he's great on defense. What are you talking about? You get what I'm saying? Like, Anthony Davis is like that. And I know I just mentioned, injuries and all that. Not finna rag on him for it, but I would say that his potential was definitely capped because of that. Anthony Davis had a crazy trajectory. Goodness gracious, learn how to talk. Anthony Davis came out of college, went straight to work. You know what I'm saying? Like, put in work immediately. And, like, he was this one-of-a-kind, unicorn-esque player. And people, I feel like, forget that. When he partnered up with LeBron, it was definitely a big deal. Don't get me wrong. Everybody knew LeBron and AD was going to be a magical season, all that good stuff. But at the same time, there was also a bit of doubt because of the, thought that, well, they just came off this last season where they missed the playoffs. That AD is going to be that much. Yeah, they won a championship. But Anthony Davis, don't let that discourage you from the fact that AD was generational. And still is to an extent. And I really hope that this recent draft of Cooper Flag, hopefully Kyrie can come back at the start of 2026, and they could really build off of that. And they could put together a pretty competent roster. I would love to see AD win on his own. And when I say on his own, like, I would love to see AD win elsewhere. He's going to be number 7. Again, continuing the injury bug segment. Number 6. Now, this one is going to ruffle. This one is going to ruffle some feathers. Because unlike you all, I respect this man. He literally keeps putting his body on the line. He keeps getting hurt. Y'all call it flopping from every time he falls on the floor and all this good stuff, bro. Man, probably trying to protect himself, bro. He probably trying to say, hey, bro, ref, look, they getting a little too physical. All right, I'll be out for a season if you don't stop this. Nonetheless, number 6, Joel Embiid. Yep, I know. Top 6 favorite players of all time, Joel Embiid. When Joel missed his first season, he was. I'll never forget him. His expression when the first 2 teams passed up on him. He goes to Philadelphia, but he was all like, all right. But like he had something to prove. And boy, did he have something to prove. This man's an MVP winner. We clown on him for not making it out of the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, but like, I almost could say, now I will say no, the last season, previous season, or the season he won MVP, sure, you know, we can fault him for his play, leading it to, you know, the second round or whatever. But like outside of that, bro, Joel just on the bad side of history. Mind you, this man was 4 lucky bounces from Kawhi Leonard to make it to the conference finals. And I have reason to believe that how that 76ers team was constructed, they easily make it to the finals after that. Now, do they win? I don't know, right? Because then you think about the matchup of that 76ers team against the Warriors. It's an insane stretch, but you have Jimmy, prime Jimmy, essentially, on one side guarding KD, who's obviously not healthy, but we can't predict all that, and we can't go back in time. Nonetheless, Joel Embiid, bro, very talented, kind of like AD, very skilled for his position, spreads the floor, athletic, a great defender. But to me, it's like, you know, everybody has like that villain they go for, or that player that they know most people dislike. For example, there's people who heavily defend Kevin Durant and his Warriors decision, and were like his best fans back then. Or Heat LeBron, for example. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, LeBron's panned out as a villain. So you have people that are fans of these players who, Joel Embiid is essentially mine. I know people don't like Joel Embiid, but I'm going for Joel. I'll die on that hill defending Joel Embiid. He's talented. He deserves that MVP. I really hope he makes it to a conference final or a championship before it's all said and done. But I'm going to need y'all to put a little bit more respect on him, because he will put buckets on 28 other centers in the league. Top 5. Woo! Okay. Now, we are about to get into polar bear in the room territory. Because of my top 5, I would say that 4 of them I could see being people's favorites. Number 5 is the polar bear. And it's Rajon Rondo. Remember when I said earlier, 2 of my favorite things that a player can bring to the table is defense and playmaking. Rondo, the unselfishness alone was just insane to me. I know there were more renowned unselfish players in league history, such as John Stockton. You could throw Chris Paul in there, Steve Nash, you know, etc. But it's something about Rondo. In almost every situation he was in, it's like he was making his team better, bro. The Celtics days, when Rondo finally came to the forefront, it was like Rondo was really pushing P, bro. He was out there really making stuff happen. Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett are benefiting from such an elite point guard. Young. Then he takes over Boston, and before his injury, Rondo's out here getting triple doubles like his name was Russell Westbrook. I don't know if y'all remember that, but Rondo was a dog in Boston before he got hurt. He went to Dallas, had a weird little stint there, you know what I'm saying? But outside of that, like, I feel like everywhere he's been, it's like, bro, Rondo's a smart guy. He's a smart basketball mind. He's an amazing playmaker. He has some of the best flashy passes of all time. And for his size, he's a pretty good defender. I'm really gonna say that, you know, Rondo's probably, I guess he's not my favorite point guard of all time. We'll get to that, but he's my favorite playmaking point guard of all time. You know, that is very important. So yeah, shout out to Rondo, cracking my top 5. Number 4, toss up here. These next two are interchangeable, but argue with your mama. Kobe Bryant.
Kobe?
It's, if you grew up watching 2000s ball, it's almost hard to not put Kobe in your top favorite players of all time. Kobe is probably, now you see influential, you think of Stephen Curry, Allen Iverson, all these players, Michael Jordan even. Kobe influenced way more than people give him credit for.
Kobe.
And I'm sure he's on that influential list. But Bean was out here hooping. Calling your shot and saying Kobe.
Kobe.
Iconic. Everybody wanted to shoot like Kobe. Everybody wanted to be aggressive, had that Mamba mentality. And as I'm talking about it more, he may be number one most influential of all time.
Kobe.
Rest in peace, Bean. Rest in peace, Gianna. And everybody else that lost their lives on that tragic day. But Kobe Bryant, man, I feel like he does not get the credit he deserves for being so impactful. But also, he was so fun to watch. Kobe was out there, like, as much as I give credit for another player and I glaze another player, whatever you may say, Kobe was always that guy that was like, bro, I am going to spearhead this operation. I'm taking on your favorite player. I'm taking on your favorite player. I'm taking on your favorite player. And I'm going head to head with the best of them. And I'm finna put on the show. Win, lose, draw. Kobe was out there hooping with the best of them.
Kobe.
And it's rare you can go and point at times where Kobe wasn't pulling his all. I'm sure you can say Game 7 of 2010, but like, they won. They won. Newsflash, buddy. So it almost discredits that. So shout out to Kobe. He's number 4.
Kobe.
But number 3, man. Give me Shaq. Give me Shaq. Shaquille O'Neal. The most dominant center of all time, bro. The most dominant center of all time. Shaq was, to me, like when I first started really paying attention to basketball, Shaq was that guy. Early to mid 2000s, bro, Shaq was on everything. Miami Shaq was still popping. Bro, Shaq and his character, his personality on the court, off the court is just insane. TV personality, I don't know if I'd have him up there, like in a sense of like analytics. But as a player, bro, oh my goodness. One of my favorite moments was when Shaq was just cursing up a storm in an interview.
They try to take over the game.
Shaq, we're on live.
Because who's going to tell Shaq to stop? Who's going to stop Shaq? That is very important. And that is why he is at the top or top 3 of my list here today. So yeah, shout out to Shaq, man. One of the most fun, electric players to watch in his prime. One of the most unstoppable players. One of the funniest. Top 3. Number 2. Y'all know who I think the GOAT is. All right. Y'all know who I think the GOAT is. So, did y'all think he was not going to make the list? Number 2. Favorite player of all time. Our King. LeBron James. Singer, that is. The kid from Akron. The King. What are we talking about? All right. Now, if I made this list, where are we at? 2025. If I would have made this list, I say 11 years ago from this date, he wouldn't even crack top 25 for me. But a flip switched in my head when he went back to Cleveland. I was on the side of history where Miami Bron, I despised it. I hated the move. I did. It really, because it was like the KD effect. Also, everybody at school's telling you that LeBron's a traitor. He did this, and then also on top of that, I wasn't there for the Boston Celtics transaction to see KG and Ray Allen join the Celtics. I wasn't there for that. Like, I didn't see it live, right? I just thought that team was homegrown and built from my perspective. I thought every team was. So when LeBron goes to Miami, my initial thought was like, I really don't care. But then when I started hearing like the negativity about it, and then he lost that first year in against Dallas, I was like, man, yeah, LeBron sucks. LeBron's trash. I don't like this guy. He's a crybaby. Then he kept hooping. Proved me wrong. Won 2 back-to-back. Made it another year after that. They lost, but it wasn't LeBron's fault, we can admit. And it's just like, man, can't deny his greatness, but I'm still not big on it. Then he makes the decision to go back to Cleveland. I said, okay, you know, it's so wholesome. Like, I just love that decision, right? 2016 Bron. 3-1 comeback. I already felt bad when he lost 2015, believe it or not. Because I was like, dang, he ain't got no supporting cast. But I'm not going to sit here and make no arguments as to what would happen if they were there. I just know that 3-1 comeback, I said, hands up, you got me. Hands up, you got me. You might be the GOAT. You might be the GOAT, bro. And since then, I have been a LeBron fan. You can call it glaze all you want. I make my jokes here and there. But, like, it's hard to deny the talent. And no matter where he was at in life, as far as a hooper, from high school, his early days in the NBA, those, seasons where he's taking that struggling Cavs team to the finals or close to it. Like, come on, bro. One of the most consistent players of all time. Points leader, electric, good personality, fun to watch, great defender at his peak, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, come on now. If I had to do a fantasy draft and I had the number 1 pick every time picking LeBron, every single time picking LeBron with the number 1 pick, and if he slides down to number 2 and I'm the number 2 pick, I'm picking him. Yeah, give me LeBron at 2. Now, my number 1 favorite player, all right? If you know me, you probably assumed that LBJ would be number 1, but no. Also, if you know me, you know that is also not the case. My number 1 favorite player of all time, Derrick Rose. So this piggybacks off of LeBron in a sense, believe it or not. One of my most fondest memories, like when I first got into basketball, I'm gonna tell you exactly where I was at. Like, I would play 2K or I would play NBA Live at the time. Leading up until this, that was basically where I got a ton of my knowledge. Then 2K became the norm. 2010 Game 7 NBA Finals. Watching them play. My father was a Kobe fan, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't say he was like Kobe fan number 1, but he liked Kobe. So we see Kobe win a championship. I kind of become like a pseudo Lakers fan, like, because I'm kind of a casual. So I bandwagoned. I straight up bandwagoned for basically that entire offseason after they won. And then, LeBron goes to the Heat. And like I said, I was rooting for him to win a championship that season, that 2011 season. But before the season started, I don't know if it was Tom Thibodeau or if it was the GM of the Bulls at the time. But he came out and said, our squad is better than the Heat. Or something along the lines of that. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. I look into the roster. There's Derrick Rose. There's Joakim Noah. Luol Deng. That whole supporting cast, bro. Carlos Boozer. I put all my eggs in the basket. I said, bro, I want Derrick Rose to win, bro. I want this team to win. I put it on everything I love. He goes on to win MVP. Ecstatic. I'm like, bro, I made a great choice in picking this guy. Love this game. They squared off against the Heat. They lost, of course, in the playoffs. And then I'm just all on the bandwagon. That was my favorite player. Playing with him on 2K. Loved the explosive, the Adidas sleeve. Or not even the sleeve, but the shoes, of course. Had the knee pads on. Then tragedy struck. And if y'all know about that tragic day, it was tough because I'm like really wanting to be a Bulls fan. And that's also kind of a contributing factor why I slowly began disliking LeBron and the Heat for a while. Is because my favorite team, my favorite player, who had the odds stacked against him already by having to play you guys X amount of times a year and potentially squaring off in the championship, the conference finals championship, just went down with a career-altering injury, bro. Devastated. Every year after that, I just wanted the best for D Rose because I feel like he deserved it. 2015 D Rose, the year where he hits the game winner against the Cavs, ironically, or which was LeBron, you know what I'm saying? Like, just great moments. His 50 piece with Minnesota, he's crying. I started tearing up a little bit. All the way up until his retirement. Like, Derrick Rose has been my favorite player, and it's not even close. I really hate the conversations about will he be a Hall of Famer or will he not, because I understand the chance that he's not going to be one, but I would really love to say that my favorite player is a Hall of Famer, bro. So yeah, shout out to Derrick Rose, probably my biggest inspiration into wanting to play ball. I had his shoes. I'm out there in the driveway trying to, emulate the little hop step and everything. But ultimately, bro, injury took him out of it. And that may be why, where I brought up AD and Joel Embiid, why the whole injury making fun of people for it really grinds my gears, because my favorite player dealt with it. Shout out to Derrick Rose, my number 1. I forgot to mention my honorable mentions. That sucks. So I guess I'll get into that. My honorable mentions that we're going to mention were going to be Vince Carter, just because he was athletic, super crazy at dunking. Dwight Howard, similar to Derrick Rose. I was a Adidas fiend, and he had the little double sleeve, so prime Dwight was like that to me. Tony Allen, clamps, plus he played for the Grizzlies. Joakim Noah, because he was up there with Derrick Rose clamping. Blake Griffin, see notes about Dwight Howard. Jimmy Butler, because Jimmy was also there, but Jimmy, even after Derrick Rose left Chicago, after Jimmy left Chicago, had moments. He was like a hybrid of D Rose and Damian Lillard to me, as far as not play, but like his impact, for me is a favorite. And then these last two were just biased from 2K, Gerald Green and Wilson Chandler. Both are hoopers for me in my 2K history. Love both of their games. And then Gerald Green missing the finger was also another reason for me to like him. So those are my honorable mentions. And then Gerald Green and Wilson Chandler were my 2K honorable mentions. That'll conclude that for me today. Thank y'all all so much for tuning in. It's been an absolute pleasure as always. This is the last video in this setup. I would miss it. I would miss it dearly. But it's okay. There's more to come. When I get my new setup, I will deck out a back wall for you all, make it look a little beautiful so you're not just staring at the blank space. But without further ado, it's been an absolute pleasure. Don't let anyone discourage you from greatness. My name is Oh So Co, and we are Oh So out.